Welcome to the Growing as a Family podcast. I'm Joel.
And I'm Clarice.
And today we're going to be sharing our story of how we met and kind of all the way through marriage, kind of up until today. So
it's a long story.
It is a long story. Come along for the ride. We met at college, and that is actually a really cool story. We'll probably do a whole podcast on it, actually. But we met in college, and I never went to college. I was just looking for a Bible study of like people my age. And what were you doing there?
I was going to school there. Me and my sister went to the same college, and I transferred there. And we met at a Christian, what would you call it? Christian campus
ministry.
Oh, campus ministry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, we were both involved in that, and we were friends for almost a year.
We were, which is an interesting fact because it's like getting to see a side of her that like you don't see in dating. You know, she wasn't putting her like best foot forward. She was just kind of like hanging out with me, which was like really cool to see that. And definitely, I think it blossomed our relationship when we did start dating, that like we had known each other for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun getting to know this nut.
Oh. I will say it was a bit of a transition, like seeing you.
Why is that?
It's just like different to go from seeing someone as like a friend to seeing them kind of saw you as like a bro.
Yeah.
But then I had to flip the switch and think in a whole new way of like, do I like this guy? Like,
yeah.
But it didn't take long for that.
Thankfully.
To flip that switch.
And I knew right away even before we started dating, when we kind of knew each other and met in college, we kind of got stuck in the same friend group. And I stay stuck because I got pulled in by her older sister, and just with like conversations and talking and like, hey, come hang out with us. And then I met Clarice, and I was like, you know what? I think she's really pretty. And it kind of drew me in. And so I kept coming back to the friend group, hanging out, going bowling, stuff like that. And it was
a fun year.
It was a fun year. And it didn't take me any time to go from friend to girlfriend. That was
in your mind?
Instant. Yeah, I mean, it was instant.
Yeah, you were like, this is an easy switch.
Yeah, it was. It was.
She's never been my friend. She's always been my love interest.
Yeah. Anyways.
I had no idea. I was like, he likes me?
I think we went on like one kind of like non-date date. We went shopping for some pants at Walmart. I just kind of texted her one day and I was like, hey, like we were talking at, it's called Crew. That's the campus ministry that we were met at. And we were just talking the day before, and we both needed pants. And I was like, do you want to come with me to Walmart to go get some pants?
Oh, smooth. And I said yeah.
She did, yeah.
But it was totally just a hangout. My sister thought it was strange when he pulled up to get me.
I was like, get in. We're going to Walmart.
But I didn't find anything. But
no, I tried on like 3 pairs. I think I found 1 pair.
Yeah.
Oh, my pants size is terrible to find. That's another story. Anyways.
Same.
Back to us.
But, you should tell me about the ice skates.
Ooh, yes. And I think on the same day when we were going to... Yeah, it was. It was like the hangout date.
I didn't go somewhere with you twice. It was the same day.
Thank you.
We went to Goodwill after Walmart.
We did. We are avid thrifters.
Yes.
That's one of our 20 facts about us. If you want, you can go listen to our other podcast.
Oh. You're good.
Yeah, thank you.
But we were just browsing around.
We were.
We found, I don't know who found them, but we found some ice skates, and they were my size. Not a bad price. I think they were like $10.
They were pretty cheap. And I was like, hey, you should buy these because I love skating. And they're a great price. And in my mind, I was like, maybe one day we'll use them. I don't know. just kind of thought.
Yeah.
But it was a great find.
That flashes forward. We'll revisit that tidbit later.
Yeah.
But how did we?
And then we were kind of like one day, I think we were at the Bible study, and it kind of came up that everybody was going to go to this winter conference, and this is like a big thing in like this ministry is like it's their winter conference, and it's over New Year. It's the days leading up to New Year, and then the one day after New Year, and it's a lot of fun. And they kind of like hype it up with videos and like come to winter conference this year and get be changed and make new friends. And
it was a lot of fun. You got to stay in a really fancy hotel. Where was it? Minneapolis?
It was in Minneapolis.
Yeah, right in the dead of winter. Quite the drive.
Yes. I almost crashed on the way there.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun being there. And of course, there's a lot of other people there, not from our Bible study. And I mean, how many people were there? Like,
probably like hundreds to thousands.
All young adults. It was awesome.
All our age, but we just hung out with each other because we were already friends, and I guess that's when Joel was like, "I'm gonna jump on this opportunity." She's stuck at this hotel.
Yes, stuck with my friend group for 5 days. I was really praying that week leading up to it. I was like, I really like this girl. And I was like, Lord, if it's your will, just, kind of work through the situation and give me an opportunity to talk with her and just be like, I like you a lot. Please date me. Please.
That doesn't help.
But I was praying about it, and, I was kind of just waiting on the Lord to provide an opening for that. And I don't know, was there an opening?
It was an interesting way how it unfolded. My sister ended up finding out that he liked me.
Yes.
And it was kind of like a secret then between my sister and my friend and
me.
Yeah. They all knew that he liked me, but they weren't going to tell me until, he was. But the truth ended up slipping out because, well, I was talking and I kind of got this weird feeling from Joel, and so that night in our hotel room I was like, do you guys think maybe there's a chance that Joel likes me? And both of them were like, did she figure it out? But they were like, what? No, why? Do you like him? And I was like, no, I don't like him. He's just my friend. Like, I couldn't see him like that. And so right then my sister, on our way home from winter conference.
Yes.
Yeah, she texted Joel and she's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, Clary said she's not interested. Like, I'm really sorry. But, we're all still friends. That text.
Yeah. And when I got that, I was really sad. I really did like her. Yeah. And she was just slipping through my fingers. I was so sad. Yeah.
You're so dramatic.
And I was so tired too. That weekend was so fun, but it was so exhausting. Like that camp. You stay up late with your friends. It's like, I don't know, 2 a.m. every night. And you wake up at like 8 because session's at like 9. I was really tired, but I was also really sad. And then that night,
everything switched. My sister, she ended up telling me, she just tried to shock me, and she was like, Clarice, Joel is in love with you.
I mean, that's kind of true.
It's true now, but
yes.
I almost spat out my toothpaste. I was like, what are you talking about? And this was already like, 11, 12. And so.
At night.
Yeah.
Not in the morning.
No. So we ended up staying up, and I was sitting on her bed, and we were just talking all night until like 3 a.m. And we were just going over like, do I like this guy? Is it a possibility? And she was hyping him up. She was saying all this good stuff about how strong of a Christian he is, how kind he is. And I mean, it was all true. And I was beginning to realize, like, maybe I could like this guy and I don't even know it.
Mm.
And so.
She was very generous in that moment. We've had many conversations of how she's hyped me up. And some of it is true. And I would say some of it has come to fruition and is now true.
Yeah.
But she was definitely a very, very awesome hype woman.
Yeah. She was the reason
She
that
was.
we're together.
She does take credit for it too.
But so then I got this overwhelming feeling of like, oh my gosh, I just lost my chance. Like, I lost my chance to maybe date this guy, see where it goes. And so my sister Elena, she encouraged me to send a text to Joel and
At 3 a.m. at night.
yeah, she was like, send it now or you're never going to send it. You're going to come to your senses in the morning and you're never going to send it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So I sent him this long text. And it was like 3:40 in the morning and I typed it all out. Just pretty much like, rethinking through things and letting him know that maybe there could be something there. And I wanted to give it a shot. So we should get together and talk sometime. That's pretty much what I said. And you can tell when you read it.
Yeah, okay. And then, so that was the night, and I was very sad at the text earlier that her sister had sent to me about, Clarice not being interested. So I was like, I went to bed early because it was a long, winter conference week, and I just kept thinking about her. She was on my mind, just sitting there. And I think that was definitely the Lord. And he, definitely was playing a big role in what I was thinking. I ended up waking up at 5 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to check my phone. And I usually don't check my phone at night. I put it on a nightstand and just kind of leave it, which I don't know. I felt like checking my phone. So I turned it on and I was like, oh, Clarice texted me, and she never texts me. Usually women don't text men first. And I was like, wow, okay. So I clicked on it. And
but you thought it was going to be like a message saying sorry.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be just reaffirming what her sister had said. I'm not interested in you. You're a great friend, but that's it. And I had scrolled to the bottom because this message was so long and it double sent. It's a thing that phones do. If it doesn't send right away, it'll send over SMS and iMessage. And it double sent. So I scrolled to the bottom. It was long and I just kind of got sad again. But then I was like, okay, I'll read this. So I went back to the top and I was reading it and going through the message. I was getting hope. And I was like, whoa, she actually does like me. And
I wouldn't say that. I was just open to giving it a chance.
But I didn't read it like that. I definitely read it as she wanted to go on a date. So then the text that I sent back to her was yes, I'd love to. Let's get together and go out tomorrow.
Yeah, and we did.
And we did. We went on a date for the first time.
Ice skating, which I brought my ice skates that we had bought prior.
Yes, that I made her buy.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun. I loved
it. It was really fun. And that's when I kind of realized, because I was trying to view Joel in a different light. And I was like, this guy, he's got the ice skating moves. Good hockey player.
I love hockey.
He brought a hockey stick or something.
Probably.
We had a lot of fun. It was just an outdoor little rink. Not many people were there. And we were skating around, and I remember the sun was setting.
Yes.
I was like, this is so beautiful. And I'm such a capture every moment type of gal. So I was like, we should get a picture. So we found the other lonely sap who was ice skating. And they took our picture for us. And in the back of my mind, I was like, if I end up with this guy, it'd kind of be cool to have a picture of us on our first date. And we did, and it's super cool, and it's still Joel's computer background.
It is still my background. It's I don't know, it holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, and then kind of from there, we just kept hanging out. We weren't officially dating. We hadn't talked about it. She was leaving for her parents because she went to college out of town, so her parents live in a different state. And she kind of was going to go home for a while, and so we were trying to hang out as many times as we could, which was a lot of fun. We got to do a lot of fun things. And finally, I was like, you know what? I feel like I have to ask her early. And then you came back from your trip to your parents, and I think we'd been hanging out for a total of like less
3
than
weeks.
I think, well, yeah, less than 3 weeks. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take you out to dinner to this super fancy place, like
Yes,
none
I bet
others.
you've never heard
You've
of it.
probably never even been here. It's called Buffalo Wild Wings. Amazing food, like top line dining.
Oh yeah, very much.
Yeah. And I said, I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna ask her tonight. I'm gonna man up and I'm gonna ask her.
And before I went on this Buffalo Wild Wings extravaganza, my sister and friend were over and they were like, Clarice, do you think there's any chance he might ask you out tonight? And I was like, oh my gosh, no.
Not at Buffalo Wild Wings.
No. We've only been dating for like 3 weeks.
Hanging out. We were only hanging out.
Oh, sorry.
We weren't dating yet, but we were hanging out.
We were only hanging out for 3 weeks, and I just thought it was sudden, especially since I never really had a boyfriend. I was like, oh, like there's no way. I'm just friends with this guy. We're just hanging out. It's not
I'm just a dude, just hanging out.
So then I told them, I was like, okay, if he asks me out, I'll text you guys that the eagle has flown. Okay, that was our code word. And so, sure enough, we were sitting in this booth number
87.
Oh,
I do remember.
got it right.
I do remember still.
So we were sitting there. I think we were like done eating, finishing up, and Joel just says, "So, do you could you picture us dating?" I was like, ooh. I was like, no, it can't be here.
Oh.
I was like, oh, well, like, I don't know, like.
Yeah. I don't know how to ask you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm like nervous around girls when I was younger. I'm not anymore because I have a beautiful wife, and I don't have to be nervous around other people because they don't matter. Only my wife matters. More on marriage later. All right, back to the story.
And so he's like, I think you were just like, okay, well, like, are we official then or something? And I was like, what? So you haven't even asked me.
Yeah.
So then he goes, oh, okay, Clarice.
Will you be my girlfriend?
Oh. And then I was silent for a bit before I said yes.
Yes.
But yeah, and after we were cleaning up more and apparently dating, I went to the bathroom before we left and I texted the girls and I was like, the eagle has literally flown. And they blew up. They were sending all sorts of crazy messages.
Yeah.
And that's when reality hit. I was like, wow, I have a boyfriend and it's Joel Hilema.
Wow! I think we even got ice cream afterwards.
Just celebrate.
To celebrate. I think we were like, what do we do now that we're boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah.
And we're like, Culver's? Ice cream?
Yeah.
You know what?
Right.
I think we went. So.
Yeah. Then we just, we were dated for, how long did we date? 10 months.
10 months. We dated for 10 months. The whole summer, I managed to keep her where I live and not have her go back to her parents for the summer. And we had a blast that summer. It was so much fun. We did everything.
Yeah. We took some trips with my family.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just he met my family. Lots of just key moments that made us grow closer together.
Yeah.
Which was really sweet to look back on.
Yeah.
Especially all those pictures and but
we're picture takers.
Yeah.
We have lots of pictures. I think we had like over 1,000 in like the first year of us being together. Which is a lot.
Lots of memories.
It is lots of memories, and I do like it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
It's cool. And then we got engaged.
Yes.
After 10 months of dating. And it was November.
It was the day before Thanksgiving.
27th? No.
No,
23rd.
I think it was 23rd.
Yeah, November 23rd.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I want to do this before all your family comes before Thanksgiving so we can like show off the ring and I could be like, yay, I have a fiance. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was a good move or not, but we did it and yeah, it was
That's
awesome.
a great move.
It was
I
kind
wish
of.
we got engaged at a different time.
No, I think it was a good time. I think it was a little awkward, especially being like meeting your family for like extended family for like the first couple times and then being like, we're engaged. It was good though. I liked it.
I thought it was pretty perfect. I always knew I was gonna marry
Mhm.
Joel from like, I think it was like week 2 of dating,
It was very soon.
and I just had that intuition,
Mhm.
so
It
I was
took
pretty confident. I was like, I think I'm gonna marry this guy, and so
it took me a little bit longer. I don't know why, but I just kind of like didn't think of it. I just was like, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend, but I don't know. I didn't think farther than that. But I knew after about 2 months, I think.
Mhm.
But I liked it.
yeah, you said you told a friend that you were gonna marry me.
Yeah, I did. I was hanging out with a friend and I was like, you know what? I really like her. I think I'm going to marry her. And he's like, wait, really? And I was like, yeah, I think I am.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And yeah,
Yeah, so we got engaged over not so great sunset, but you can't pay the sky.
that's true. That's true.
It was still pretty though, and it was near my house after we went on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
And
I got her. Let me tell the story because
Okay.
this is super funny. So we were going out on a walk, and I told her dad because they have a family dog, and he's like, "Can the dog come on this walk?" And I went, "Mm-mm." And he's like, "Okay," because I had asked him for his permission about a month prior, and we were going on this walk, and we were gonna go to her favorite spot to watch the sunset, and we get to her favorite spot, and there's no sunset.
it wasn't great sunset. It was kind of cloudy.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just keep walking.
And I was like, no, wait, let's look at these trees.
And they
did-
were all dead.
I did say that, and they were all dead, and it was November.
But it was cute in its own way.
And so I like walked to the edge of like this kind of like overlook, and she was like gonna keep walking without me at this point because it was not a great view. And I kind of was like, come here. And in that moment, I was like, I just dropped a knee and I said, Clarice, will you marry me? And she,
Will you make me?
oh yes, Clarice, will you make me the happiest man alive? Will you marry me?
Yes.
And
I was like, oh my gosh. And of
no,
course-
no. You said a lot of no's.
Okay, well that's not good. I was reacting, so I was like, no, like no way, like no,
Yes.
no. And then I was like, yes. I threw a yes in there,
Yep.
He knew I wasn't. He knew
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
knew
say
she
yes.
was joking, but it was kind of funny in the moment. She was kind of like backing up, saying like, no.
But yeah, I fit a little yes in there, and then
Yes.
I cried, of course, which I'm not a very emotional gal, but
Mm-mm.
at least I used to not be. But
It was so sweet.
it was very sweet. We hugged. We watched the sunset that kind of came out of nowhere, and took
Yeah.
some pictures, and then we went back, and I was like, oh my gosh, how do I tell my family? But I walked in and I just pointed my ring at my mom, and she waved at me because she didn't see it.
Hi.
And I was
No,
like,
Mom.
no, Mom. It's like, look at my hand. And then she was like gonna pass out.
Yeah.
Everyone was really excited. But
Yeah.
that was really sweet and memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was wedding planning season, amongst other things, like buying a house.
Buying a
and
house.
Fixing it up, which that's another episode.
It is another episode. Oh my.
But it was a busy season, but we planned our wedding for October because I
Mhm.
really wanted a fall wedding. I love the colors.
Yep.
I love, just the look of fall, the crisp air. It's my favorite season. So I was like, I definitely want to get married in this season. So
Yeah. And that was 11 months later. So
Yeah.
like.
yeah, we got engaged in November, and then 11 months later, we got married in October.
Mhm.
And, that was another fun season. It takes a while
Yes.
to learn to call someone fiance.
Yes, it does.
It takes a lot of adjusting.
Speaking of calls, we called every wedding venue place in our state.
Oh my gosh.
And that was a doozy. I didn't think we were going to get a wedding venue. I think we were just going to do it in like our backyard or something like
Yeah,
that.
I was like, all right.
I remember
We're just gonna have to go to
laying
the courthouse.
I remember laying on the floor of her apartment just going, oh, what are we gonna do? And just scrolling like online of like who is here to give us a wedding venue. And
Yeah, we ended up. Joel saw one that didn't have many pictures.
no, there's like one picture and an email.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll give it a shot. Clarice, have you done this one? She's like, I've done 100 of them. Like, just send one out. So I emailed this lovely lady and I said, hey, do you have, October 14th was the weekend we had picked. Do you have that available? And she messaged us like right back, almost right away, and was like, actually, yes, I do. And we can call sometime. And I was like, Clarice, we might have a wedding venue. And we had no idea what it looked like. There was just a picture of like a logo. And I was ecstatic. I was like, Clarice. And we ended up calling them the next day. And yeah, it was awesome. She was a lovely lady.
Yeah, so it ended up being a barn venue.
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of knew that because of the name. But, yeah, I was like, I can totally picture my wedding at a barn. So.
Oh.
And we had a tighter budget. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think weddings are a little outrageous these days. It's just my hot take. I think people think a lot about the day and not a lot about the rest of your life with this person. And so I was like, I don't want to go over the top. Like, I just want to end up married. Like, that was my goal. So I didn't fret the day. I didn't, have a freak out moment or a bridezilla moment of like, this isn't going my way. Like, I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm going to end up married, and that's my goal. So,
Yeah.
So I mainly planned that while Joel was mainly renovating the house.
Yep.
And, we ended up having, like, 75 people, so kind of a small, medium wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great day.
Yeah, it was an awesome day. It ended up, there's like a little bit of air of it could be snowing or it could be very beautiful weather in October here in Wisconsin. And it ended up being awesome. There was no snow. It was a sunny day.
Yeah, it was a little chilly. Like, and I'm not going to wear a coat for my pictures. So everyone's like, how are you not cold? I was like, listen, I'm in the mindset of my wedding day and I got to get these photos. So I'm not cold at all. And
the photos turned out great. You didn't even know it was slightly cold.
Yeah. And I wore Joel's jacket a couple times, which was nice. But we had a blast and
we were married.
Yeah, we ended up married.
We're here.
Yeah. I don't even know how detailed we should be about the wedding, but it was.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a podcast episode on that later. It was a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a sparkler exit and everything, and then we went off on our honeymoon.
To Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yeah, highly recommend. We did some hiking, sightseeing. We went to a lot of high places.
In the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, there was a lot of beautiful views.
Yes.
And so, but that really kicked off our marriage to
It
a
did.
fun start. It was like, wow, I get to go on a trip with this person.
Oh, staying in a hotel with just her. Like, I come from like a Christian family and I grew up Christian and like one of the things that like you are told when you're a young Christian boy is like don't ride in a car with just a girl and like you don't like I don't know sleep in a hotel with just a girl. Like I've only ever slept in a hotel with my family. So being in a hotel with you, I was like, what? just us? Like I'm not.
I think you got over the shock pretty quick.
What can you say? I'm a natural.
Whatever. But
it was
we had
fun.
a lot of fun, and then we came back home and settled back into the routine of things because we were still getting our house all put together and decorated and making it a home.
Yeah.
And now we've been married for how
a
long
year
has
and a
it
half.
been actually?
Year and a half on the 14th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But But thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening to us talk and laugh. And
yeah, it's fun to revisit memories and the story of how we came to be.
So thank you for watching, and we'll put out more podcasts as soon as we can. So bye, everybody.
Bye.